All right, guys, we got a bunch of C8 Corvette ZR1 information to talk about today, so we're going to jump right into it. Let's start off with the reason you clicked this video, which is all about the Zora and whether or not it's even going to exist at this point. Tad's Jukter was recently quoted in a video that he did with Car and Driver saying that the ZR1 is the quote-unquote range topper and that it's the quote-unquote most expensive Corvette we'll be doing. So what does that mean for the Zora? Let's talk about it. Now, if you guys haven't been following this entire saga up until this point, there is actually a leaked document that came out early in 2020. It actually might have been late 2019, outlining all of the cars that were going to be released in the C8 Corvette lineup. So all of the performance variants. Now, for the most part, this has been pretty accurate. There hasn't been too much deviation from this particular chart. Everything kind of changes a little bit, and you can notice that in some of the numbers here, but just so we're all on the same page, in 2021, the right-hand drive C8 Corvette Stingray was obviously exported. In 2022, the Z06 was supposed to be out. Obviously, that got delayed until 2023, and the horsepower and torque numbers here are a little bit wrong, but they got the engine right. It was a 5.5 liter LT6. So a lot of this stuff is to be believed. Now, believe it or not, like I said, guys, this chart is roughly 4 years old. This is not something that was just put together. This is something that leaked very early on. Now, moving on from there, we have the Corvette Grand Sport, which is actually most likely the E-Ray here, just without the changed name. Again, horsepower numbers are a little bit off, but they were still probably up in the air because they weren't finalized. Again, though, they got the engine right and the hybrid drivetrain right as well. Moving on, we have the Corvette ZR1, which was supposed to be a 2024, but because of the delay of the Z06 from 22 to 23, it pushed the ZR1 back a year as well because it uses an engine that is kind of based on the LT6. Again, they got the engine right here. It is called the LT7 with a 5.5 liter twin turbo dual overhead cam, but the horsepower numbers were wrong again. Now, in this case, this is kind of what everybody was expecting the Corvette ZR1 to come out with. 850 horsepower thereabout and 825 pound-feet of torque. But what we ended up getting instead was the numbers that the Corvette Zora were supposed to put down, which was over 1,000 horsepower and somewhere in the neighborhood of 975 pound-feet of torque. Now, obviously, these numbers were altered throughout the entire setup here. These were probably just estimations. As you can see up at the top, the power and the torque in parentheses has estimation kind of there for this purpose. But at the same time, the ZR1 was never really supposed to make 1,000 horsepower. None of these numbers were off by over 200. So what that tells me, based on this chart and what Tad's just said about the ZR1 being the most expensive Corvette they're going to make, is we might not be getting a Corvette Zora after all. I do believe we were going to get one in the beginning because of these numbers, but after they made over 1,000 with the ZR1, they may not continue with the Zora in the traditional sense. Because if the Corvette ZR1 is in fact the most expensive Corvette we're going to see in the C8 Corvette lineup, where does that leave the Zora? Everybody's speculating that the Corvette Zora was going to just be the Corvette ZR1 drivetrain with a E-Ray hybrid motor driving the front wheels, but how would that be cheaper than the Corvette ZR1? Unless, of course, like we've talked about in the live videos, the Zora is in fact just an option that you get to check on the Corvette ZR1. Because then, what Tad's just said isn't exactly false. It's still the Corvette ZR1 with a Zora performance package. Now, this is something we've been talking about on the channel for the last 2 months or so. After we initially saw the ZR1's testing with the SF90 and that vertical radiator in the front, we kind of speculated that maybe this might be a performance option instead of an entirely separate car. It makes a lot of sense when it comes to watering down the brand, so to speak, with too many performance variants, as well as kind of honoring the ZR1 quote-unquote king of the hill in the lineup, but also giving Zora a chance to shine as well. So this is my opinion on this. We're going to get the Zora, but it's going to be a checkbox for the ZR1. It is not going to be an additional car. It makes the most sense this way based on what Taj said about the ZR1 being the most expensive car we're going to offer on the C8 Corvette lineup. Originally, I would have said this car is going to start somewhere around 140 to 150,000 and probably max out after all options are checked around 210 to 220. That was whenever the car was going to quote unquote only have 850 horsepower. Now that they bumped that up to 1064, gave us a split window option that is specifically for the ZR1, gave us a gigantic wing and some new carbon fiber and also a ridiculously awesome frunk with a heat pass through for aerodynamic purposes, a top speed in excess of 215 miles an hour. Yeah, now I think it might be more. I have heard zero official whisperings of the price of this car, so it kind of worries me. I was thinking, like I said, 140 to 150,000 to start. Now, after everything we've been given, I think this car is going to start just under 200 grand. If I had to guess, 189 to 199 is going to be the starting MSRP. That's just my opinion. Originally, I would have said 140 to 150, but with all the extra stuff we're getting, I think it's going to be a little bit more, guys. Let me know what your thoughts are on the price down below. Moving on to the next little bit of information here, guys. We've finally gotten to see some of the ZR1 prototypes in their natural habitat, so to speak. There is no camo on these cars at all, and you get to see what the ZR1 is going to look like in the flesh. So this one here is obviously a red mist car. Interestingly enough, it has all of the painted front bumper pieces. And other than that, though, you get to see that giant wing in the back. So this is a ZTK car just cruising around town, testing. And yeah, we're finally going to be seeing these things on the street with those insane hoods. I mean, look at that front hood. It's just absolutely nuts. The fact that that thing is going to offer the amount of downforce that it does and look that cool was just beyond me. But it's interesting to see this car in red mist because the only two colors we've really gotten to see so far with this car are the release video colors, which is, of course, the new competition yellow and the new hysteria purple. But now it's nice to see red mist cruising around as well. Again, guys, super excited for this car. Let me know what your thoughts are down in the comment section below. How pumped are you for these ZR1s? Next little bit of information, guys, comes to us again from the Corvette blogger, and it is the Carbon Revolution company giving some information on the latest visible carbon fiber wheels for the C8 Corvette ZR1. Now, if you guys haven't seen these yet, this is what the new wheel looks like, and it is a really, really nice looking design. My only complaint with this one and the one on the Z06 is why the barrel has to be white. I get it that it's ceramic, so it helps protect the carbon fiber from the heat of the brakes, but why couldn't that ceramic be black? You know, it just doesn't make sense that it's got to be white, even if you put some dye on it or a thin layer of paint, something to make it just blend a little bit better would be a really great idea in my opinion. But other than that, I really love the design of the wheel. I think it fits the car really nicely. And again, Carbon Revolution knocking it out of the park with the quality of their wheels. It just looks fantastic. But they've been talking about the ZR1 wheels for a little bit. They actually leaked it about 6 months ago. They randomly said that they were working on a wheel for the ZR1 as well. And a lot of people speculated that they accidentally slipped up or that they meant the Z06. But I knew as soon as they said it, they were working on the wheels for this car because I'd seen some leaked pictures that looked a lot like carbon fiber wheels that were a different style for the ZR1. One of my subscribers actually shared a picture of the ZR1 when it was still in camo over at the Nürburgring with wheels just like this on there. So I kind of knew these were coming, and whenever they slipped up, I knew Carbon Revolution was going to be making them just like they did for the Z06 as well. But either way, really a cool looking wheel. Carbon Revolution goes on to say that it's been a great honor to work with General Motors again, that this will be the third Corvette to feature our carbon fiber wheels. Our team harnessed its extensive engineering and manufacturing experience to come up with a wheel befitting of the highest performance Corvette we've ever seen. Now, if you're wondering what three Corvettes they're talking about, of course, it is the C8 Z06, the C8 E-Ray, and now the C8 ZR1. If you're wondering, these carbon fiber wheels actually reduce the rotating unsprung mass by 42.8 pounds across the ZR1, which will have a top speed in excess, of course, of 215 miles an hour. I've actually heard as high as 220. But 42.8 pounds is no joke, guys. That is a very, very light wheel. So across all four wheels, they're going to save you 42.8 pounds off unsprung mass, which is a huge thing. So to hit that high speed, the top speed of the ZR1, you pretty much need to have a pretty lightweight wheel. But anyway, guys, that's going to do it for today's video. So if you liked what you saw, smash the thumbs up button. Let me know you're liking the content. Let me know down below what you think of Tad's Jukter saying that the Corvette ZR1 is the most expensive Corvette we'll be doing. Let me know what you think of the new carbon fiber wheels on the ZR1. and the fact that we're starting to see these things running around in the public without any camo on them. Let me know your thoughts on everything down below, guys. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. We're going to have tons of information on the ZR1 coming you're not going to want to miss. And as always, guys, stay obsessed.